Belichick and Kyle. To me, Kyle Shanahan, although he's Mike Shanahan's son, he aspires to be Bill Belichick. I guess his dad isn't quite Bill. So he sees Bill as the end all be all. I think he tries to talk like him, thinks he tries to coach like him, but they've taken quite different approaches to the quarterback position this offseason. Do you think that Belichick is coaching circles around Shanahan at this moment?
I do. I think right now Belichick is showing why he is a veteran, why he is a great coach. And just looking at the way that he played this Mac Jones situation, I know that there's a lot of talk about, Cam's not vaccinated. Maybe that played into it. I really don't think it played into anything. I think what they looked at was Cam and Mac, at the very least, are even. And with that being said, you do not want a veteran looking over the shoulder of your rookie. The last thing you can afford to do is exactly what Miami did last year. They handled that situation about as wrong as you possibly could. And they don't want any possibility that the fans start chanting for Cam when Mac's playing bad or what have you. And I think the way that they've played out this whole situation is perfect. And then the opposite, looking at what San Francisco's done, I know, I get it. Jimmy's a veteran, all these other things. You can win with Jimmy. I understand all of those things. But Lance is good enough to play now. And you can't sell me that he's not. And pushing his progression back, even if it's 6 games, 8 games, whatever it ends up being, I think is a mistake long term. And coaches want to win now. That's what Shanahan's play is. He's worried about winning now more than he's worried about winning in the future. But what he's doing is stunting the growth of his primetime quarterback, which is Trey Lance.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, let me just give Shanahan some, not credit, but some context. He's in a tougher situation than Bill in the sense that it's not hard to cut Cam Newton.
No.
He's never accomplished anything with the Patriots. It's not like they ran Tom Brady out of town for Mac Jones. That would be different. That would be more comparable. It's not that Jimmy Garoppolo is Tom Brady, but around the 49ers, he's like the closest thing they have to it because they were freaking losers for years until he got here. So I just feel like Kyle's in a tougher spot where he couldn't necessarily do that. Still, the fact that Kyle traded up for a quarterback that he doesn't think is ready, while Bill Belichick stood pat and let the market come to him and got exactly what he wanted. I'm not saying we're going to talk about whether the Niners made the right pick at number 3 in a minute, but you got to give Belichick credit for accurately assessing the market, letting it come to him. Everything he's done this offseason has worked out in his favor, as opposed to Kyle, who we have some questions for right now. And not just because of the decisions he's made, but how he's sort of handled things since he made the decision. So, yeah, I would have to say that Belichick coaches circles around everyone. But, yeah, he is, absolutely. And it's a good contrast.
I would say this too, and I know that there's, hey, we can't play Trey until he's ready, until he can read defenses. Mahomes won an MVP in 2018. He said it wasn't until mid 2019 that he knew how to read a defense. Brett Favre went from the Falcons to the Packers, made 2 Pro Bowls before he learned what a nickel defense and a dime defense was, right? So you can't tell me that you have to be perfect to win in this league. Trey Lance, especially with Shanahan's backing, can win in this league. And Jimmy Garoppolo, one of the big praises that's heaped upon him is he's so good on third down. Do you know that Nick Mullins is number 4 and Beathard is number 8 from 2018 to 2020 in converting third down and longs? Why is that? That's because Shanahan is the one that's calling these plays. He can put Trey in a really good position and allow him to succeed while he's going through these struggles.
I talked about this morning, but I really believe this is what's going on. I'm going to do a quality control where I just go one-on-one with Jed and we talk about this in a couple of days. But I think it's really serious what's going on right now, and I'm a little concerned about Kyle. I mean, it's been reported by all the major people, all the most connected people, that his first choice was Mac. And he also liked Trey, but his first choice was Mac. And the rest of the organization preferred Trey, as they freaking should have. Are you kidding me?
Right.
But he likes Mac. And so he relents because the fans revolt and the entire organization is in lockstep that Lance is the pick, and he goes along with it. But that's not how. I mean, the Shanahan stick to their guns. Okay, so they relented, but they still want to prove that they're right. And I say they, meaning they. It's a corporation like the Mannings and the Boses. They want to prove that they're right. And to me, putting Trey in a situation where he could start week 1 or he could compete for the job would have only proven them wrong. So what they did was they never let him compete for the job. I mean, they said that they even said it wasn't a competition. He got very few throws with the first team. He got hurt playing with the second team, which we all saw coming. I mean, it seemed to me like he was that Kyle was more concerned with being right than with pivoting and getting it right with Trey Lance, which is one of my issues with Kyle. But there's still time. There's still time. I mean, maybe he wanted to prove this point in preseason and then let the quarterback competition take place when the season starts. My only question is Trey going to play week 1? Man, I mean, they're not going to tell us one way or another, but broken finger, it could linger. I asked Kyle Shanahan today, is this the kind of thing that you're confident will be a non-issue next week, or could it linger? And he says, just don't know. So already they're in a – because, look, the reason you got Trey Lance is because you don't want Jimmy Garoppolo being your full-time quarterback. And now he is, if this is a serious injury. So they did a good job keeping people healthy, but this is serious. So, yeah, he's coaching circles around Shanahan. Shanahan hasn't made a decision. Belichick made a decision.
Absolutely. And he's firm in that decision. And, the other thing, too, is I think the Patriots have winning aspirations as well. You can't tell me that organization doesn't think that they can win this year. They spent a ton of money in the offseason. I know that they're not as win now probably as the 49ers, at least not in our eyes, but in their eyes, they certainly are. So this is hey, we can win now, but also build for the future at the same time. And that's what the 49ers could have done as well.
Also, I think the Patriots are the perfect team for Mac Jones because the Patriots aren't an explosive offense. They're a what's the word? Deliberate, slow, ball control. That's what they do. And he's a great fit for that. I don't know if they would have taken him over Trey Lance, but their attitude was, we know where this market is. At 15, we'll get someone good. And the Bears knew the market. The Patriots knew the market. The Niners traded up a month before the draft, which is highly unusual. And I love Trey Lance. Maybe ultimately he will end up being worth the number 1 pick in this draft. But I wonder where he would have went if the Niners hadn't taken him at 3. And I wonder if the Niners just misread this market entirely, which is nothing against Trey Lance. It's just if he didn't go 3, he wasn't going to go 4. He wasn't going to go 5. I don't know. So the Niners made a very, very drastic, desperate move. They got Trey Lance, who I love, but you got to question the process a little bit here. Like, what were you guys really trying to do? And did you do what you wanted to do?
Yeah. That, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that's something that we're probably, I won't say never going to know, but it'll have to come out way later what actually happened, right? Like after 20, 30 years down the road, we're not really going to know until then. And, I heard
my prediction.
Go ahead.
If it works out with Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan will stick to his guns that this was his guy and he developed him. If it doesn't work out with Trey Lance, in 2 to 3 years, we're going to hear some report making it official. Yeah, I like Mac Jones better because he's done that before. When they took Johnny Manziel, he was a good soldier for like 6 months, and he was like, "Yeah, I prefer Jimmy Garoppolo and Derek Carr, no question about it." I'm telling you,
it's
Kyle.
True.
Because here's the thing about Kyle and his dad, like they are lifers in the NFL, and they're loyal to themselves, not a team. I mean, they're all Kyle's been on 4 or 5 teams already, and this isn't going to be his last team, or it might not be. And so ultimately they're loyal to their own brand over the 49ers brand, which I have a freaking problem with. But as long as Kyle is he works this out with Trey, he'll be fine. Because if he doesn't work it out with Trey, God, there's a lot of coaches who are going to be in line. I'm just saying, like everyone says, oh, just wait until Brian Daboll goes to Chicago and takes over there. Hey, man, if I'm Jed York and Kyle's messing around and he's trying to like tell me that we should have taken Mac Jones, I'm looking at Daboll right now. Because that guy has the track record of developing quarterbacks, and that's a skill. Just giving a guy a system and a run game isn't necessarily developing a young quarterback. There's a lot of psychological handholding that has to go into it, and some people are good at it, and I'm not saying Kyle isn't, but he hasn't done it yet.
Kyle hasn't proven he's good at it,
Right.
right? It's not like Jimmy's progressed. It's not like Beathard progressed. It's not like Mullins really progressed. So yeah, there is a
Rosen
skill.
was awful, and then he goes to Atlanta for a week, and all of
Right.
a sudden he's good again, or at least
Right.
functional. That's
Right.
bad, Kyle. Because
Right.
you have a great system. Like they should be all flourishing under you. So what is it about you? Are you negative? What is it about you? It's not your offense. It's not your playbook, man. It's you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, it's interesting, right? Because you can flourish statistically in this offense, but not grow. And those are two
Yup.
very different things. And he's not, at least he hasn't proven that he can grow these
Nope.
players as individuals, grow their confidence, and
That's
make
big.
them better long term. He can make anybody work in his system. It's that good. He's that good of a
Yes.
play caller and a play designer. But that does not mean that you're a great leader. And that's what I have to see answered. And I'm curious to see what happens with Trey Lance's development long term.
The most success he's ever had was with 31-year-old Matt Ryan, who was already a multi Pro Bowler, had been there multiple times. He didn't need development. He needed a system that was good, and he got it. It was a good marriage. But that's not all that Trey Lance needs. Trey Lance needs psychological handholding and development, just like Jimmy Garoppolo needed it. And Jimmy never got it. And I don't think we really, I mean, I guess we were just like, well, you know, you got $90 million, so that should be good enough. But honestly, it wasn't. And I hate to think that Jimmy could go somewhere and have a coach like Bieniemy, Dayball, Arthur Smith, people who specialize in pumping quarterbacks up, and that he would actually have a good career.
Right.
Just look at CJ.
Yeah.
Look at freaking CJ. What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Kyle, you got to be scared about that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it does. And you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out long term. It's certainly something to keep an eye on.